Thank you for tuning in to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast, where we discuss the latest news, rumors, and games of the NFL and college football. As always, I'm Jeremiah.
And I'm Anthony.
And we are here at kind of a windy Friday morning here in Northern California. It's very windy here.
Yeah, it's getting a little wintry, even though it's April.
Yeah, I know. And it really rained last night, too. I was driving on my way back home from work, and I thought my car was going to get blown away. Dude, but it didn't. I'm here.
Honest to God, one of my favorite things is like driving through a puddle when it's raining. Like not a big,
I hate that, man. I hate that.
I love doing that. Like not a big one where like your car's going to get stuck and you're like, okay, well, this wasn't worth it. Like, no, one that's just like a tiny little thing to where it's just like you've seen like in movies, whatever, when they drive over and it's just like it drenches the dude on the sidewalk or whatever. One of those things. Not when people are actually there. I'm not a total jerk.
You're one of those people that like doing that?
Well, not to people. Like that's
okay.
No.
Okay.
Hold on. No. I don't like.
I was like, how dare you?
No. Like there's someone there. God, no, that's just a jerk move. No. But like, you know, just in general, if I see like a little puddle, I'm just like, like it's just one of those things. Like I enjoy it. I don't know. It's like a small little joy.
I hate it because I hate the way my tire sounds. It's like.
Do that again.
I hate it. That's what it sounds like. No, I get scared every time I drive. It's like, I'm like, oh, what was that?
You're just in your car, just going to be like, it just like stays.
I should just do that throughout the whole show. All right. Oh, wow. Let's get the show started here. All right, shall we? Okay. Well, we have a lot to talk about here.
Yeah.
I did discuss Richard Sherman and Marshawn Lynch yesterday. We may get to Marshawn Lynch again, but
there's like some mini chaos in Seattle.
Yeah. That's why we're going to begin the show with Seattle Seahawks.
Right.
And it looks like that the Seahawks have initiated trade talks on Richard Sherman.
Right.
They have taken calls. It looks like they're actually getting more serious now on listening to those calls. I think it may happen. I said yesterday that I don't think it's likely that Sherman will get traded this year because he has 2 years left. I think it's more likely he gets traded next year because of the 1 year on the contract. I may be wrong now because it looks like that the Seahawks are getting a little bit more serious now on trading Richard Sherman. And their asking price is really high, which is rightfully so. It should be high.
Mm-hmm. No, the thing is like I still don't think he actually gets traded this year because like what they're asking for, like a team might decide, okay, cool, we're going to do this. Like the Saints may just basically decide, like, look, like we need to actually get a better defense. We might as well start getting some of the best players that are available, kind of thing, right? Because now the Saints are potentially interested in like Adrian Peterson. But like the thing with the Seahawks, you remember? I can't remember if it was. No, it was all around the same time. So when they lost to the Patriots in the Super Bowl, right? They had the whole thing of just like, oh, Marshawn Lynch allegedly didn't get the ball because they wanted Russell Wilson to get it because they want to build around Russell Wilson and da-da-da-da-da. And then you had the whole thing about them basically yelling at Russell Wilson for not being black enough. Like there was all these kind of like sub-topics, right, with the Seahawks, forgetting about the fact that they actually lost Super Bowl, but there were so many of just like, why did Marshawn get the ball? Was there some collusion of not wanting him to get the ball? Like, there are all these little things that happen, right? And there was stuff in the past of, I think it was either Golden Tate yelling at Russell Wilson. You had the situation with Percy Harvin where he was getting into stuff. Like, there's always been these kind of like minor feuds or minor scuffles or whatever you want to talk about it with Seattle. And now they're talking about Richard Sherman getting traded away. You have Marshawn Lynch, who I figured would just stay retired, wants to basically go back to Oakland for the last handful of months that they're going to stay in Oakland before they go to Vegas. And, Russell Wilson's still there, and Earl Thomas is still there, and Cam Chancellor's still there. But, I mean, like, that once, like, amazing defense that they had is, like, slowly going away, and you basically, at the end, just have Russell Wilson there trying to win games on his own.
Yeah.
Without an offensive line.
Not only that, without a running back, too. And that really played a huge part in the playoffs for the Seahawks. They didn't have that running game there. Yeah. They did not. They tried to – they had a little bit of success with C.J. Prosise and Thomas Ross, but those guys just couldn't stay healthy.
Right.
They brought in Christine Michael at the beginning of the year. he was very inconsistent. Then they dropped him from the team.
Right.
And then he went to Green Bay, who he resigned, by the way, this offseason.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of question marks, a lot of chaos in Seattle. And, it's funny because I still think they're the best team in their division.
Oh, well, yeah, but that's a low bar, man. Like,
I know. That's why I think it's kind of funny in a way.
Right, that's like
I think the Arizona Cardinals are a good team, but, they're old now.
But that's like it's saying if like the Texans got a quarterback, they're the best team in the division. Cool, that division stinks. Like, that's not saying a lot. That's just saying that like the Seahawks, while still, probably, a team that's capable of making it to the Super Bowl, slowly they're just coming back to the middle of the pack. Like just every year it's kind of like a little bit less, a little bit less, a little bit less, a little bit less. I know you say like you said no, and now you're thinking maybe happens with Sherman, but like
it's only going to happen if a team gives up a high draft pick and a player.
Right. Well, basically they have a month or something like that until the draft actually starts. Once the draft actually starts, and if he's not traded by that point, he's not going to get traded in between that.
Yeah, and I see that too. But I think with them being really more serious and them getting calls, taking calls, having the discussions.
Right.
Says a lot. It looks like they're about 80% there, but there is that 20% that he would still be a Seahawk. It's like you can't trade players that are in the primes of their careers. He's still a really great player.
Right. You want to generally do the Patriots model if you trade them not in their prime, but you want to trade them kind of when they're, close to the end. Not at the end, but something close to it. Like, you have a year left, and that's fine. You can have your 1 year at another team, but we got rid of you at value before you hit the wall. And Sherman, I don't think he's at that point. He's still, he was a little bit, worse last year than he was in the years past, but he was also dealing with an MCL problem. So, like, he had issues that were relevant to him not being the best, but he was still one of the best cornerbacks in the league. So getting rid of him, I don't know. There seems like some version of spite because Sherman also is, by the way, not a quiet individual, like not someone that'll bite his tongue. He will say what he feels, right, wrong, or indifferent. And I figured for a while that the Seahawks were good with that. So I don't know if this is just a situation where they want to get value or maybe they're just tired of him. Like, I don't know what it is, but there's just a lot of things kind of all mashed together with this kind of Seahawks team.
Yeah, and if it does happen, I did have a list of teams yesterday that I can see Richard Sherman going. One of them was the Indianapolis Colts. I like him and Vontae Davis together.
Sure.
I think that'll be good. I said the Saints because they need all the help they can get.
Because why not?
Why not?
Oh, you want a first-round pick? Take 5.
Trade is like back in the Ricky Williams trade. Yeah, take the whole draft.
Whole draft, all of it. I'm going home now. Bye, guys.
Oh, man, that was good times. All right, the Saints is one of them. I believe the Patriots is one if they get rid of Malcolm Butler. I think that will be kind of like
I don't think
I don't know.
I don't think they want to trade with the Patriots.
No, they don't. And
would you trade
I had one team.
Would you trade him to Oakland to go pair up with Marshawn?
That was the next team I was going to say. And I was going to say that, you can get him to Oakland. And one thing I totally forgot to talk about yesterday.
You trade both of them because don't have to necessarily trade.
No. There's
Marshawn.
There's one storyline I've completely forgotten. If that does happen, if Richard Sherman does end up in Oakland, which I think is a real good fit, by the way.
Right.
He's on the same team as Michael Crabtree.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't think about it until like this morning.
Those practices, man. Those practices.
Practice?
They're just going to fight each other.
We're talking about practice now?
Well, it's not going to be as bad as Aqib Talib. Remember Aqib Talib ripped off Michael Crabtree's chain?
Yes.
Like, it's not going to be as bad as that, but like...
That happened in the game, though.
They did. Because Aqib Talib is an insane person. Aqib Talib might be the most insane person in the NFL. Like, honest to God. And that includes someone, who... Like, who else is insane in the NFL? He might be the most insane person in the entire NFL. And there's this video that he did, but he was on ESPN's Highly Questionable about him and what happened with his grandma and shootings through a door. He's kind of had an insane life. So, when he's not on the Patriots anymore. Where is Aqib Talib now? Tampa Bay? I feel like he's Tampa Bay. Dude. But oh my God, those practices. with Richard Sherman and Michael Crabtree. And if Marshawn Lynch ends up going there too, oh my God. Oh my God. You know I'm here for this chaos, man. And oh my
I know, that's why I brought that up. I didn't bring it up yesterday because I completely forgot about that. But once I was driving here, I was like, man, if Richard Sherman goes to Oakland, he'll be on the same team as Michael Crabtree. And, by the way, Aqib Talib is still on the Denver Broncos, by the way.
Is he on the Broncos?
Yeah,
I don't know
he
why I
is.
thought it was in the Buccaneers.
All right. But, yeah, like, because I remember back in that championship game, I think in 2012.
Mm-hmm. When he was yelling
literally, Richard Sherman was cutting a promo like he was in the WWE.
100%. Aaron Andrews might have been Mean Gene Okerlund, basically, just like holding the microphone, just like, all right, go.
You put me a star receiver like me, like Crabtree? Mm-hmm. I can just imagine, like, the crowd warring, cutting a promo. But, yeah, but I just want to point something out about Richard Sherman here.
Mm-hmm.
He has the same amount of... I'm going to take a look at his numbers from another particular good quarterback that's in the Hall of Fame right now. Okay. Right now, Richard Sherman has 30 interceptions. Mm-hmm. He has 4 Pro Bowls. Mm-hmm. 3 first-team All-Pro seasons. He has 1 Super Bowl ring.
Yep.
All right? Those are his numbers through his first 6 years. Mm-hmm. Those are the same numbers as another all-time cornerback. Can you guess who that other cornerback is?
Deion?
It is Deion Sanders, yeah.
Yeah, Deion, yeah. That's the thing, because he got the 1 Super Bowl that he got at the time with
the 49ers,
with the 49ers before he went to Denver or Dallas the year after that and got it. Yeah, no, that, I mean... I had
to put those numbers on there.
I mean, yeah, he's not Deion, because Deion...
He's not, because they're just they're different players, different style players, but
he's all, yeah.
The numbers are there.
Yeah, and I think he has the most since he got into the league with 30. I think that's the most in that time frame. He is, I mean, he doesn't play like some like Darrelle Revis does, where Darrelle Revis is just like, oh, you have the best guy? Cool, I'm going to take him away. Or at least that's how it used to be. Sherman is basically like, I got this right here. It's like, okay, what happens if Julio Jones goes on the other side? I got right here. Like, this is my side. This is what I do. I'm going to defend whoever's here. I don't care if you put Julio Jones or his, like, best friend who they decided just to give the practice squad meeting to, and now all of a sudden he's in the league. Like, I got this side. This is what I do. And the 30 interceptions is, like, really impressive because it's not like no one knows he's really good. This isn't like a Nnamdi Asama situation where it's just like, oh, okay, cool, he's really good. We're just, like, not going to throw to your side. They still throw to him all the time. And he's getting these interceptions and still one of the best players in the league. There is a chaos part of me that hopes he goes somewhere else. But, I mean, he's not a Hall of Famer right now by any stretch.
No, I think he has a couple more years to go before he can get to that part. I think if Richard Sherman had that second Super Bowl win, maybe he would have had more of a case. But
the second Super Bowl helps, but the fact that he got the one, and it's not his fault. Like, it's not like a quarterback who threw an interception in the final drive or something like that of a Super Bowl. Like, him not winning the Super Bowl isn't necessarily his fault. Him getting that Super Bowl and being on that historic team, like being on the historic team in general helps out your case. And if he plays 5 more years, gets another, call it 15 interceptions or something like that in that time frame, he can get somewhere around 40 to 50 interceptions. I think that, and he gets 2 or 3 more Pro Bowls or All Pros. Then all of a sudden it's just okay, cool, yeah, you're up.
Okay, well, before we go, I got to ask you a couple questions, Anthony.
Let's go. Hit him.
Can we agree that Richard Sherman is not going to be traded?
This year, yes.
Okay, and then if he does, though,
right?
If he somehow does get traded, what team do you want him to be? Yeah, me too. I want him to be in Oakland so bad. I don't know why. I think that would be just a great fit for him. And not only that, I want to see him and Michael Crabtree on the same team.
Right.
I want to see Marshawn Lynch and Richard Sherman on the same team again.
Yes.
With Michael Crabtree. And then you got Derek Carr there, who is I kind of, Richard Sherman's the guy that likes to blow up on the sideline. Derek Carr kind of does it, but in a different way. So I kind of want to see how that will work out. I'm very interested to see how they work out, if there's any conflicting things there.
So there's a few teams, because me and my chaos theory, there's a couple teams that I would love. One being the Raiders. One being the Patriots should see the entire league.
I don't I don't want that.
Because the entire team, because the entire fan base of every team except for the Patriots would be like, how do they get these players? I would just love to see the chaos out of that, and also Dallas.
Okay, Dallas. I can see Dallas.
Just him in Dallas with Jerry. Oh my God,
I can see that.
Best.
All right. Cool. Well, that's going to we're going to go to our first break here.
Yep.
And when we get back, we're going to discuss Marvin Lewis, whether we think or not. That was poorly worded. We're going to talk about Marvin Lewis and whether we think he deserves a contract extension.
Right.
So we're going to discuss that when we return from the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
And welcome back to Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast. And for this segment, we want to discuss Marvin Lewis. And he was in the story about ESPN. He told the 4-letter network that he doesn't foresee a contract extension happening prior to the 2017 season. He is entering the final year of his contract. Mm-hmm. He and team owner Mike Brown, not the basketball coach, different Mike Brown, agreed to a 1-year contract extension around this time last offseason. But it doesn't look like he will get another 1-year extension. And, Lewis doesn't think either. So, honestly, this is a make-or-break year for Marvin Lewis. If this team does make the playoffs and they fail to win a playoff game again, or if they just don't make the playoffs at all, I think he's going to be gone. And he's been there since 2003.
Yep.
He's had 5 seasons over 500.
7 winning. A couple of them were 8-8, and a handful of them that were below 500. The worst he ever did was we went 4-11-1.
That was
technically 4-12 back in 2010.
That was the T.O. and Chad Ochocinco squad.
Yeah. That was when he was just throwing stuff against the wall, like, hey, how about this? Does this work? Nope, that didn't work.
All right, okay, and he only has. I don't think he has a playoff win at all.
I don't think he has a playoff win. No, he has basically been there for 14 years, 0 playoff wins, and again, chaos theory. I want him to stay for an even 20, just because I feel like that'd be nice. So next year, I want them to win the division, go to the AFC Championship game, and lose there. But then at least get 2 wins, right? And you can't fire someone if they get to the AFC Championship game. And I think that's only happened recently with Marty Schottenheimer when he was with San Diego. They did really well, then they were like, you got to go.
That was really dumb, by the way.
That was really dumb. They were 12-4 and then gone.
We saw how that team
or 14-2,
went.
I think, actually.
Yeah, it was a 14-2, and then we saw how that team ended up.
Yeah.
Saw how that team ended up. They weren't the same after that, but
no, I want him to get a contract extension just because. Also, notoriously, the Bengals are cheap. Mike Brown is a cheap owner in that aspect. They're not someone that goes out and spend all a Jerry Jones kind of thing. They're kind of penny pincher in that aspect. So it wouldn't surprise me if they actually went, the Bengals actually went something 12-4 and made it to the AFC Championship game. It'd give him a 3-year contract extension or something like that.
Okay. It's tough for me to see that Marvin Lewis deserves a contract extension. He's been there for 14 years.
Right.
No playoff wins.
That's you can't get one.
They just been average throughout his entire tenure there. And I do want to point out they do have Marvin Lewis has the most wins out of any coach in that franchise. Maybe it's because he's been there so long.
Well, yeah.
But still, that does say something. But you're judged on playoff wins in this league.
Thing is, though, like I said, he's been there for 14 years, right? And obviously that's a really long time to stay in one job. In those 14 years, he has 118 wins. So he's doing relatively okay, right? He's not some Belichick situation, but he's doing fine enough. I just kind of hope he stays there a little bit longer to get some sort of success because I don't think if he leaves, I don't think he's getting another job.
Yeah, I think he'll get another job. Are you kidding me? We saw what he has done to the Bengals. He's been there for 14 years. He's had
good seasons recently.
He's had good seasons. Well, we have seen the potential there in the Bengals team. I thought like a couple years ago they would have been a potential Super Bowl contender. They haven't got that far yet, and maybe that window has kind of closed.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that he hasn't won a playoff game, and the Bengals, they currently lead the NFL in playoff wins. They haven't won a playoff game since 1990. The 1990 season. They've been on the drought.
1990, dude. Like,
I wasn't even born. I was born 2 years later.
The thing is, the Bengals are like an organization that's just like, yeah, they exist, but no one expects anything from them, man. Like, if they made, I understand they've made the Super Bowls before with Boomer Esiason and that, but the team is so, I'm trying to think of a comparison team.
Okay, all right. That was a lot of From 1990 through I think 2003, they made some pretty bad draft picks. Most famously, I remember Keely Smith as a quarterback. I think in the late 90s. Mm-hmm. They had a running back. I forgot his name on top of my head, but they drafted him number
John
one.
Carter.
I think so. And I think he had a lot of injuries. He had a lot of potential, but injuries kept him out of the game. So they weren't able to hit on a lot of drafts during that period. And then when Marvin Lewis came, they drafted Carson Palmer out of USC. Had some really good years, but he did get hurt. Wasn't the same.
Right.
I don't know. I do think Marvin Lewis will get another job if he does get fired from the Bengals or doesn't get a contract extension.
Right.
I just think he'll probably have to wait a year to get one, because I still think he has a really good resume to get another job from a subpar team. Let's just say this: if Marvin Lewis is out of the team next offseason, 2018 January, and then Hugh Jackson is a little longer there, I can see the Browns take a flyer at Marvin Lewis. He knows the division.
I mean, he does know the division for the Browns. Just why not?
Why not at this point?
Right. They just kind of look at it just you want to come here? No? I understand.
I don't want to ruin my career than I already have.
Right.
But the Bengals are coming off a 6-9-1 season, and, they have not won a playoff game during his tenure. This is a make-or-break year for Marvin Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he deserves a contract extension. He has no playoff wins. He has a lot of talent on that team, too. He has guys like A.J. Green, Andy Dalton. He's shown that he has promise in this league.
Yeah.
He hasn't really improved being that, that 5,000-yard guy, but you really don't need that if you have a really solid running back. They have solid running backs for the past couple of years.
Well, they've had solid running backs for the last couple of years, but they haven't exactly had the guy basically since Corey Dillon. They haven't had the number one running back. They've had the cheat code in AJ Green, but outside of that, it's just been they've had the people on defense. They've had good players on defense. Problem is they've been insane. Perfect, Pac-Man Jones. They've had the people, but it's just okay, we're going to harness all of this crazy, and hopefully it doesn't explode in our face. And they basically lost the playoff game 2 years ago when Burfict decided to try and take out all of the good Pittsburgh Steelers players, try to take out Antonio Brown, try to take out Big Ben. He's basically on a one-man mission to try and decapitate everybody that was good on the Steelers, and that kind of lost it for them. But now you get a situation with Marvin Lewis to where he doesn't know what's going to happen with him. Maybe he gets extended, maybe he doesn't. I hope he does. But if they go, they basically have to win at the very least, one playoff game, right? That's basically the lowest bar, right? If they win one playoff game and then get just shellacked in the division round, I don't think he makes it. If they get shellacked in the first round, whether it's a wild card round or the division round, however good they actually do, he's gone. If they don't make it to the playoffs, he may not even make it to the end of the season. If they start off 4-8 or something like that, he might just be gone at that point.
Yeah, basically. You know what? Before we get to the break here, we had a little bit of breaking news this morning we didn't get to, but it looks like that Richard Sherman is involved in the trade talks. It looks like he wants out of Seattle now.
Yeah.
According to Pro Football Talk this morning. So it looks like that, he wants to go to a contender. And, the teams that I did say previously, like the Raiders, perfect spot to contend right now. Because I think as of right now, I think that's the best team in that division.
Mm-hmm.
I could definitely see them going to the Patriots because, they're a contender.
Patriots are probably just dangling out some second-round pick. Would you like a second-round pick for them? We can give you a second-rounder.
They're trying to be like that one meme, the Salt Babe, where they putting some salt on the putting some salt on the tray. I just can't wait till Bleacher Report comes out with that meme now.
Dude, the thing is, and the problem with this for the Seahawks is, okay, it's one thing if you're trading somebody kind of low-key behind the scenes. You can get a lot of value for them because teams aren't going to know. You can say, I'm beating against these other teams, and you can kind of raise the value. It's another thing once it gets out in public, they're like, you did try and trade from it one time. Then the value goes down a little bit. Now you get Sherman basically saying, the whole, bleep you, trade me kind of thing. And that probably brings the value down a little bit more to where now that whole first-round tender for, they're like, well, why would we give you a first-rounder when clearly he doesn't want to be there? Here's a third-round pick, and you can go to hell. Now they're just going to lowball him even more for Richard Sherman basically, not wanting to be there. He might still be there because it's kind of the whole, thing where they have contract disputes. And they're like, I'm not going to report to camp. And the teams are like, okay, cool, you have fun with that. So maybe this doesn't hurt it that much, but it still probably brings down a little bit as far as the trade value.
Yeah, it definitely does. I can definitely see, you see teams that are involved in this. They're like, whoa, he doesn't want to be there. Why would we give you a first-round pick if he doesn't want to be there? If he doesn't want to be there, you guys are probably going to release him anyway, and that's kind of tough if they do. Which I don't see happening. They can't cut Sherman.
No, they're not going to cut him, but at the same time, they always have the NFL is the weirdest sport like that because it's basically just we want to give you less money for you to stay here, and the players are like, okay, that's fine because they have no real leveraging skills because literally they can just bring other people in to do your same job, and. Yeah, for Sherman, man, I get it because this kind of seems like everything that's going on in Seattle is kind of chaos right now.
Yeah, it is a lot of chaos. A lot of chaos right now. It looks like it's 90% going to happen nowadays.
Yeah, that 80 went to 90 pretty quick.
It did. Like Drake, 0 to 100 real quick. Really quick. I can't say the real version because this is a family show.
Yep.
All right. Well, on that note, we're going to take our last break here. And when we get back, we're going to discuss the remaining free agents here and where we think they're going to sign when we get back to the Going to Meet Concepts Football Podcast.
Are you looking for help for your fantasy football team? Check out the GSMC Fantasy Football Podcast. Get today's best advice on who to start, who to sit, even who you should draft. From sleeper picks to red-hot lineups, they got it all covered for you. That's gsmcpodcast.com/fantasy-football-podcast. We'll cover traditional leagues, dynasty, PPR, even IDP leagues. When you need fantasy help, there's just one show to hit up. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit gsmcpodcast.com for more info.
And welcome back to the Going to Meet Concepts Football Podcast. And, we're heading to the middle of March. No, middle of April. Oh, my gosh. Middle of April. Man, it's already April?
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, man.
All right. We're getting close to the NFL draft, but, free agency still continues throughout the entire year.
Right.
There's still some big names out there. So what we decided to do, Anthony is going to discuss the running backs, most notable running backs still left on the market. I'm going to talk about the most notable quarterbacks. And, I've talked about these two quarterbacks pretty a lot throughout, this offseason.
Right.
But, I did talk about Jay Cutler yesterday on the show.
Mm-hmm.
He's still a free agent. Tony Romo, he retired from the game. And, the Houston Texans, they have Tom Savage at quarterback. And if the Texans go with Tom Savage at quarterback, I have no faith in them.
Nope.
And I did say that the Texans should not waste any more time trying. I don't know what they do at quarterback. They can't waste any more time trying to find the quarterback at that position. They have a good team already. You got J.J. Watts. He's coming back from back surgery.
Mm-hmm.
You got David Clowney, who's in his final year of his rookie deal. You got DeAndre Hopkins, who's in his final year of his contract. Can't waste any more time. So that's why I think Jay Cutler will end up in Houston. I think he will go there for maybe 2 years, and the money, I can't predict the money because that's really kind of tough. But I say he goes there for a 2-year contract.
20 to 30 million, probably.
You think so?
There.
Yeah. You think 20 million? Okay.
Probably a little bit more than that. Probably around 30 million, something like that. Yeah, because it's a quarterback. Quarterbacks get paid a lot of money. We saw freaking McCown.
We had Mike Glennon.
Glennon get a bunch of money. Like, he got about 50 million. So if he's going to get that, you're probably going to give that to Cutler. But, yeah, I can see that. And the reason we're doing, like, quarterbacks and running backs is because, yeah, I could tell you where Nick Mangold's going to go. You don't care about offensive linemen. Don't lie to me. You don't
and
care.
Jonathan Haskins is probably going to end up in New York again.
Yeah,
so.
like, you don't care about them. Like,
No.
you're like, oh, I wonder where this guard's going. You don't care. Don't, like, the people that are listening right now, don't lie to me. You don't care where they're going. You care about the quarterbacks and running backs and maybe a wide receiver and maybe a tight end if his name is, like,
Yeah,
Gronkowski.
and Anquan Bolden is still a free agent, too. He said he wants to play.
Yeah, and he's still pretty good. Like, he's someone that, like, actually will catch the ball every single time. Like, he doesn't drop passes. Like, you know, and if you put him in an actual good situation, like if you just put him in New Orleans, basically, it's like, okay, Drew Brees, just throw it to him.
I think that'd be a really good spot for Anquan Bolden. There.
Yeah, like I wouldn't mind him going there. For me, like Adrian Peterson, who is like legitimately one of my favorite players of all time, he is still a free agent. He's going to visit the Saints today, and I don't know why you would visit the Saints. And the reason why I say that is because, like, I would assume at this point he wants to go to a contender. But there's also probably the situation of he also wants to get paid, and he also wants to be the guy on the team. So there's kind of like weird holdups with that whole thing. I guess that basically would leave like Denver, even though they technically have like C.J. Anderson and stuff like that. But he's, you know, I guess they're kind of looking for a running back as well. I would love to see him go to either the Raiders or the Patriots or the Broncos, some team like that.
I do not want Adrian Peterson on the Patriots.
Look, whatever on the Patriots this
Oh
point.
my God, no!
Look,
they're like they'll be like the Miami Heat from like 5 years ago.
Look, man, I understand. Like, I'm a Dolphins fan, and I'm telling you these things like that because I don't care. I want history. I want like something that's just like amazing to watch. Like, I do not care what team it is. I'm a Kings fan. If the Lakers did that, I wouldn't like it. I would like that less. But at the same time, I'd be like, all right, let's see how this goes. Like, I would be intrigued by it, right? And with this whole Peterson situation, like, he's going to the Saints. I don't want him to sign there. He might, but like, I don't want him to sign there. Like, I want him to go to the Raiders. I want him to go, if Marshawn doesn't go there, I want him to go to the Broncos, where I think he actually will go. Like, all things considered, you kind of add everything up. I think he actually does go to the Saints, though. Like, I think he actually does.
I can see it happening. I can see it happening. You know, they didn't resign Tim Hightower. He went to the 49ers. They still have Martin Ingram there, but you know, we have seen that Martin Ingram, he has durability issues.
Right.
And you know, Drew Brees is not getting any younger.
Right.
I think he wants one more championship before he retires. Remember, this is Drew Brees' final year, too, of his contract. And if Adrian Peterson, he's probably going to go there on a 1-year deal. It's probably going to be 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they might have to go all in on the Saints, or all in on Drew Brees, trying to get to the playoffs again.
And your second quarterback that you think is going to go where is?
It's Colin Kaepernick.
And you think he goes where?
You know, I don't see it. I can see him going to Houston for football reasons. Now, the reason why I say football reasons because I don't feel like I have to say anything about his politics. I think you guys kind of get the point now.
Well, I can say that anywhere in the South. I could say that with New Orleans. I could say that with Houston. I could say that with Dallas. I could say that with a lot of teams.
But no, but okay. The team I would like to see him.
Right.
I like to see him in Jacksonville.
No.
I like to see him in Jacksonville. Because I think he can be a competent backup to Blake Bortles, and Blake Bortles
he might not be a backup for a while if he's going
exactly.
behind Blake Bortles.
I think he will have a chance to start if Blake Bortles happens to be Blake Bortles again. And I love the receiver talent there.
Right.
I love the receiver talent. This is one of the teams that will draft Leonard, that might draft Leonard Fournette. If that does happen, I like the tandem there. I think he will go there for a 1-year deal. It'll probably be incentive-laden, an incentive deal. He's going to be there as a backup. I do like him there because it gives a chance for him to compete. It gives a chance for Blake Bortles to compete and possibly get better because, you know, if you mess up, we got this guy who's had success. And the Jacksonville Jaguars have not had any success at all. I like him in Jacksonville.
get what you're saying. Like, I'm not opposed to that because I would like to see if he can get a second chance in the NFL to basically resurrect what people assume he is now. Like, I would like to see that, and I think with Jacksonville and all the talent they have, if he could be given the opportunity to shine, I think he actually might do pretty well. So I'm not opposed to that.
And then they had built a pretty solid defense there.
Right.
I just think, it hasn't fully come together because of injuries and all that. But they signed a lot of guys. They signed Calais Campbell, AJ Bouye this year.
Right.
They threw a lot of money at him, and then they drafted Miles Jack, Jalen Ramsey last season.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think it finally could all come together this year, and then I think if the offense does happen to they finally score points, I like the Jacksonville Jaguars this year. I'm not going to pick them to win the division again because I already did that, and I'm not doing that again.
Don't do that.
But if Colin Kaepernick goes to Jacksonville, I can see him being a really good backup, and in case Blake Bortles happens to, go all Matt Schaub on us, I think he can be the guy there next year. I really do think so.
That's not bad. I kind of like that. Okay, so my last one for running back, what?
LeGarrette Blount, right?
LeGarrette Blount.
Yeah.
I like him in Cincinnati, and here's why I like him in Cincinnati.
I like that. You know what? I didn't think about that.
Cincinnati is a team that generally takes the, I don't want to say rejects. Rejects sounds terrible, but the discount bin, because for as good as LeGarrette Blount was, it was because he had all the touchdowns. It wasn't because he rushed for 1,500 yards. He had a little over 1,000 yards rushing. But I think if you put him with A.J. Green and you give him a situation to get like, okay, so this whole offensive situation's good. Dalton's not amazing, but he's very capable. A.J. Green's a freak of nature. LeGarrette Blount's really good. Okay, good. Offense is done. Like, I think he could actually shine pretty well there, and he played in that Division I, so people there are kind of are used to him or whatever. Marvin Lewis played against him enough times when, he was in Cincinnati and he was in Pittsburgh, LeGarrette Blount. So, I think him being able to get kind of revenge on Pittsburgh, too, every now and then, I think that would be kind of like a motivating factor for him. I'd like to see him in Cincinnati.
I like him in Tampa Bay. Again, I can see a return to Tampa Bay, the team that he started out with.
Right.
I can definitely see that. Doug Martin, the guy that actually replaced him,
right,
ironically enough, will I can see him replacing Doug Martin in the first 4 games of the season.
Right.
Yeah, I think that would be kind of ironic there. But he's coming off a 18 touchdown, 1,000-yard season.
Right.
I still think he has some talent left in the tank. And, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they look like they can be a really good offense this year. With Deshaun Jackson, we got Mike Evans. I think this is going to be a breakout year for Jameis Winston.
Mm-hmm.
I like LeGarrette Blount and Tampa Bay to potentially take over for Doug Martin the first 4 games. They still got Jacquizz Rodgers there. I think Charles Sims, I'm not sure if he's still there or not. But I do like him for being kind of a complimentary back there.
Yeah.
If Doug Martin does come back and still play at the high level.
I agree with you. All right, so we're going to transition a little bit now to our favorite sports story. Or, sorry, not sports. But
we're going to go with our story of the week in the world of football.
Right.
And, I got one that happened yesterday.
Yep.
Anthony, yours happened on Sunday.
We're both cheating a little bit, to be fair.
Yeah.
So for mine is Roberto Gronkowski. He decided to basically get involved at WrestleMania. I don't understand how this works out. The Patriots are apparently okay with it. They let Gronk do whatever he wants. They let him do the sex boat. They let him be on WrestleMania. They let him do all of these things. And the funniest part was, when he got into WrestleMania, he did this, shoulder bump to a guy, Jinder Mahal. And, I don't think – has he had shoulder problems? I know he's had back problems. But, I'm surprised the Patriots weren't just yeah, you can just be in the ring, but we're not going to let you actually take any bumps because if you get injured on WWE time, how are we going to explain this to people? Oh, why isn't Gronk playing this year? He got injured. Well, how this time? He won at WrestleMania. You got to explain that to people.
He got injured in a fake sport.
Right. You got to – well, it's real sport. It's just fake.
Yeah, it's a scripted.
But, how are you going to explain that? Because you have to explain all these things to people. You got to just, explain to them, he decided it was a good idea to go to WrestleMania. Well, he slipped when he was in the crowd. No, he got in the ring. Why'd you let him in the ring? He wanted to go. You have to explain these to your fans who are going to get pissed off, and then they're going to basically say oh, he doesn't care about the game. Which I'm assuming Gronk does care about the game because all the stuff he does is after the season. Like, none of it's actually during the season. All the stuff of him, like, DDTing his friend on stage or the boat or the WrestleMania stuff, all this is in the offseason. Like, none of it actually happens during the regular season. He seems to, like, tone it down in the regular season because he understands, like, look, I got to really practice. I got to try. I got to do all this stuff. But then as soon as the either Super Bowl ends or the playoffs end, because they always get the playoffs, once basically his regular season is done, then he's just like, okay, where's the nearest bottle? Vodka, shots, let's go. Like, he is ready for the offseason, right? Like, basically, that's his weekend, and he is fully ready for the weekend once the season ends.
Oh, yes. I love talking about Rob Gronkowski on this show and WrestleMania at the same time. When I saw that, I literally freaked out. I was like, Gronkowski in a wrestling ring at WrestleMania, this can't be real life. I'm like, I don't think anyone told Gronk that this was fake.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Because he was pumped up. I liked it. I you know what? I'm going to continue saying this. Mr. Vince McMahon, book Mojo Rawley, or with Zack Ryder if he's still in the company.
Right.
Have them.
Just have Gronk in the corner.
Exactly. Have them be a manager at WrestleMania 34.
Yeah.
Oh, it's 34, yeah. 34 in New Orleans. Come on, man. Do it.
Yeah.
Book it, Vince. All right. Now I'm going to go to Mr. Timothy Tebow.
Oh, him.
And, you know, he kind of took the spotlight yesterday in baseball. And he is part of the New York Mets organization. He is in the Class A Columbia Fireflies.
Mm-hmm.
And yesterday, his first at bat, hit a 2-run home run.
The dude, I swear to God, like, he is. Okay, we just talked about wrestling. He's Goldberg.
Yeah, technically, yeah. I see your comparison there.
Here's what I mean with that. For those of you who don't know wrestling, stuff like that, we've talked about it for the last few weeks. Whatever, it's fine. Goldberg is somebody who, whether he was in WCW in the late 90s or whether he's doing it right now, like, dude is fantastic in a short period of time. Like, he's got, like, a 5-minute match for you, but it's going to be an amazing 5-minute match, or even, like, a 1.5-minute match. But in that time, entertaining as hell. Tebow, he's got you for, like, a play. Not the whole game. No. One play, like the home run he got at this time, or when he was in the Arizona Fall League, he got a home run in his first at-bat there, or that one play when he was in Denver when he got the touchdown against Pittsburgh, that one throw, that basically that slant route that won him the game. Like, he's got you for, like, a play, maybe even a quarter. But as far as the whole game, no, man. Because after that Tim Tebow stuff, he went 1 for 5. He had 3 more strikeouts after that home run. So that first one, Tebow's the greatest player in the world. And then, like, 3 more at-bats later, not the same.
Yeah, and he drilled.
Bursts.
Yeah, and I actually do see that comparison. I never thought about that, but you know, Tebow drilled a 2-1 pitch against the what's the team's name? That it was a team in Augusta.
Do you know what the best part of the whole thing was?
And then I'm gonna tell you. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you the best thing.
You got this.
All right. The left-hander that he hit off was Dominic Mazza.
Sure.
And guess what overall pick he was in the 2015 draft? Just guess.
Well, I know what it is, but like,
just guess, guys. All right, cool. How you say his name? Dominic Mazza. Dominic Mazza, the pitcher that allowed the home run from Tim Tebow. He was number 666 overall pick in 2015 draft. Oh my gosh.
The devil.
Yes.
He beat the devil. Now, technically, the devil beat him after that, but he beat the devil. Like, he got a home run in his first at-bat off the devil, then the devil won after that. But he, like...
it's like...
It's just, like, that's so... It's like, here's the thing, like, I don't think Tebow's good. Like, I don't think he's actually, like, a good player. But I'm so intrigued by him, man. Like, he is somebody who... Like, honest to God, it's like he plays for the Mets, right? The Mets minor league organization, I should say. Okay, if you're the Mets... And let's say you're not contending this year. Let's say you're just like an average team. You're going to win like 75 games, something like that, right? Why not?
Do you see him becoming a September call-up?
I see him being a one-day September call-up because, okay, fine. Is that like breaking baseball etiquette? And are you not respecting the game? Yeah, fine, technically. Also, I don't care about that. But, like, if you lived anywhere in the New York area, because they would do it in New York, not in like Washington or like Philadelphia or something like that. If you live anywhere in New York, in any of the 5 boroughs, or in New Jersey, or heck, even like Atlanta, like I would fly wherever close to New York I was to see Tim Tebow in that one game. Like, I don't care if he strikes out 4 times on 12 total pitches, just like every time it's a 3-pitch strikeout. I don't care, man. Like, I would so go to see that, especially in September when it doesn't matter and you're just having those call-ups. I would absolutely bring him up for a game and just say, like, why not? Like, give me a reason why this is a bad idea outside of the whole, like, you're not respecting the game. Give me another reason why this is a bad idea.
Honestly, it was sell tickets. That's the whole thing. And
right.
not only that, it's baseball. You have to bring excitement to the game. And then he is someone that could have a wide audience. He could bring a whole nother audience.
100%. Like, and this thing of like, well, he's going to be bad. Cool. So a lot of other people. Baseball's hard. Like, you know, you try to hit a baseball. It's really hard.
It is. It's the hardest. It's the hardest thing to do in professional sports.
The other day I tried to, because I had this little like radar gun. So I tried to see how far or how hard I could throw. And in my head, because I'm delusional sometimes, I thought I could get it to like 75, 80 miles an hour. No, man. I got it to like 55, and I was throwing with all of my strength, and I was like, wow, how in the hell does Trepman throw like 109? Like, how?
Yeah, and then what's his name from the Chicago White Sox, Michael Kopech, throws like 105.
I was like, I don't understand. Like, I think if I tried, I could probably get to like 70, 80 miles an hour, but that's like
But your arms will fall off after.
Also, yeah, dude, my arms were tingling. Like, there was pain in that whole thing, man. Like, they threw it, and like this, I don't know what this part of it is. No one can see it because it's a podcast. It's not a visual medium. But like the tricep or whatever just was dying. Like, it was so much pain from that, and my like forearm was tingling. Like, no. All right.
Well, anyways, the team that the Fireflies that beat, they won their game 14-7 over the Augusta Green Jackets.
Congratulations!
Man, I love these minor league team names.
They're the best.
They're the best.
Ours here is the River Cats.
The River Cats.
How is that?
Then the
How
one
are we doing?
I don't know. And then the one where I'm from in Fresno, they're called the Fresno Grizzlies.
Right.
And
the Grizzlies are at least that's the Memphis team. That's at least something.
Exactly. Yeah, and then I just want to point out Tim Tebow's final stat line against the Augusta Green Jackets after his 2-run home run. He had a weak ground out.
I just realized
to the shortstop, and then he struck out the next 3 times. So he finished 1 for 5 with 2 RBIs with 3 strikeouts.
I just realized what that was. The Augusta Green Jackets, like golf, like
the
majors,
like the Masters.
Jackets.
Yeah, it's going on right now.
Yeah, I just realized so like the Gold Jackets or something like that would be like, or the Yellow Jackets would be like a Hornet or something like that. The Green Jacket. Okay, cool. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I get that, and we what the Masters going on.
Your mascot is a piece of clothing. That's fine.
Can you imagine the mascot? It's just a
coat.
It's a golfer.
It's just a coat. It's some dude holding up a coat, just like waving it around, like yay!
All right. Well, that's gonna do it for us today. I will be back on Monday to discuss any type of football-related news over the next 72 hours. Anthony, he will be back on Wednesday. All right. So as always, Jeremiah
and Anthony,
you guys were tuning in to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast. Thanks for tuning in, and you guys have a great weekend.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.